What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will, Casino over there.
Hi.
We've been trying to start this show for 20 minutes, so we're just going to start off hot, Casino. How we doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, we're good. I don't know.
And today,
Kids.
We're just starting with breaking news, basketball. There's a
Let's
delay.
go basketball. Football.
Doesn't matter. It's so I mean, this is crazy. I didn't think this would happen. I was just reading a bunch of shit about where will Damian Lillard go. None of them, I repeat, none of them had him going to the Bucs. So Damian Lillard's been traded to the Milwaukee Bucks in a 3-team deal with the Blazers and the Suns. So the Bucks get Damian Lillard. The Blazers get Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Tamani Kamara, the Bucks 2029 first-round pick. It's unprotected as well. They swap rights on the Bucks 2008 or 2028 and 2020 and 2030 picks, blah. And then the Suns receive Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson.
Grayson Allen, boo.
I mean, this is...
And there's my kid.
This is the right on cue. Casino, thoughts on this insane trade?
Milwaukee's going for it, man. Like, I mean, do you think this trade with Lillard going to Milwaukee, going with Giannis, is going to be just an annihilation for every team in the East? So I think that's a pretty good setup.
Well, also the craziest thing out there is, so he's been, and we talked about it on this podcast, he's been linked to Miami from the get-go, right? It was like he wants to go to the Heat.
Miami or bust.
He wants to go to the Heat. The Heat wanted him to go there. It was apparently like that was what it was. So after this trade happened, and again, we're recording this 45 minutes after this broke, but Jimmy Butler on his Instagram posted a video that said, and I quote, "Yo, NBA, y'all need to look into the Bucks for tampering. I'm just going to put that out there. You didn't hear it from me." So the fuck does that mean? And it was not like it's not like he's like doing like a joke, funny, like Instagram. It's like one of those ones where a bunch of people are like, yeah, like it's so it doesn't appear to be a joke. If it is, like, he got us, but if it's not, I don't know what that could potentially mean or how they could prove that or whatever, but I don't know. This just feels like it came really out of left field. I mean, but to answer your original question, like, yeah, I really do think now in the East, in the West, I think it's Nuggets and Lakers. I don't think anybody got as good as those two teams did. And then in the East, I mean, it's literally just Celtics, Bucks, and Sixers. And then the Sixers and the Celtics have a bunch of question marks. The Bucks, obviously they had that bad luck against Miami last year. Well, it wasn't even bad luck because Miami wiped the floor with them.
It wasn't bad luck. It was bad play by their... Yes, Giannis was not 100%, but still it was bad play by the rest of the team. And even when Giannis came back, it was bad play. And Butler and the Miami Heat played out of their damn mind. So that wasn't luck. That was just getting your ass kicked. There's a big difference.
I agree. But
let me ask you this. So basically, we know the 4 teams that could win the championship this year. Yeah. Do you even give a shit to watch the NBA season? I ask you that because now this coming season, they're doing that like in regular season tournament thing around December. Like, because normally this is how I am with a lot of sports. This is why I like hockey so much. Is hockey? It's very you can have the best teams, but you don't know who's going to win. Like anybody can win as long as you make the playoffs. But for like the NBA, for baseball, for football, you kind of have a knowing of, okay, these are the best teams, and it would be astronomical if they don't make it. So we don't typically watch a lot. I mean, we talk about for baseball all the time. We don't watch the regular season all that much. Are you going to watch any of this regular season? Obviously, I know you're going to watch a little bit because you're a sports fan, but are you going to care about this regular season at all because of that tournament? Or are you just like, wait to the playoffs because we know the top 4 teams, and out barring a miracle is going to be those four teams in the conference finals?
I say yes, because last year we almost got a finals that was the Heat versus the Lakers, and both of them ended the season as the 7th seeds. So
fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
Because before the playoffs started,
but you could say last year though it felt like an anomaly with those teams, correct? That's not normally how it shakes down though when it comes to the NBA.
Yeah, but I will say the year it was,
I mean, you watch it, but you watch it more than me. But that's what I always feel like when people tell me like these are the teams that are going to make it by the end of the year. They're always the teams that are going to make it by the end of the year. Always, like it never changes. So like I have trouble watching, like honestly, even baseball. Even though I like watching baseball more than the NBA, I don't watch a lot of the regular season. Almost none, actually, because it's the same thing. It's like I know who's going to be good. I watch the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but I do think the way to combat that is, and we talked about it when it was announced and like broke it down on a previous episode about the in-season tournament.
Break that down. I'm going to get my daughter. Like I said, we started way late.
Yeah, I know. But I do think the in-season tournament will add more interest to the NBA season at a point where, like Casito said, a lot of people aren't paying attention because I would even say hockey to a certain extent, just because there's so many games, but hockey, baseball, basketball all have the issue where the season feels really long, which means every game doesn't matter, which is a big reason why multiple people, or not multiple people, just people in general think that the NFL is so popular because every game legitimately does matter, right? Like, I mean, we're going to get into our NFL picks, but there's a bunch of teams that are 1-2, 0-3 that you can kind of just pencil out of the playoffs because, historically that just means you're done. So like last year with the Sixers, they lost the first 4 games. Then I was like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. Like nobody was panicking. It was like, oh yeah, they got the whole regular season. And then they finished up as the number 3 seed. So I do think, and I don't know if we're going to do as big of a preview for the NBA and NHL. Obviously we will talk about them because they're starting up here in a little bit, but yeah, I do think the in-season, tournament will add a lot of interest to the NBA regular season because, again, it's the younger teams, it's the younger guys who are going to get a shitload of money if you win this tournament. And we broke down, I believe it was like $500,000 in this tournament. And some of these guys, are making pennies compared to what, like LeBron or Giannis even are making it on their huge contracts. So you're going to have younger teams full of younger guys being like, I really care about this because I could double my paycheck, right? If I win this in-season tournament. So I think it'll be good. The tournament will be good twofold. It'll be good because maybe younger teams will fight harder in the tournament more than if they were, like a young team like let's just say the Hornets or the Magic, right, would probably fight harder early in the season than a team like the Lakers or the Heat, who are kind of just like, we're playing for a championship. We've made our money, like blah, blah, blah. So I think an in-season tournament will bring more interest because younger teams will try harder in it. And plus they make a shitload of money. But now that Casino's back, that was me vamping.
Well, I caught the end of that. And you know what? I because I asked you the question, I'll answer it. I probably will watch a little bit more of the NBA this year midseason because that does sound appealing to me. Having, a middle tournament. Sorry, I'm still trying to get my words together. So because BJ took a nap. This is why we're running late. And then, yep. And then I was on the verge of a nap when all of a sudden he goes, "Hey, yo, let's go." And I was just like, "Hey, yo, let's go."
That was a quote for me. I
Yeah.
did say, "Hey, yo, let's go."
Yeah.
But this is why I'm so energized because I just
Yeah.
woke up. Also, it was the
And this is
best
why
kind of
I'm
nap.
this is why I'm so tired. Why is it the best kind of nap? Go for it.
I had the best kind of nap because it was an unplanned nap. I passed out and then I woke up and I was like, "Oh." So those are the best kind of naps.
Mine is the worst kind of nap because it was where my eyelids started to shut and I started like going into that little phase, and then all of a sudden it was just like ting. Oh yeah, hi, I took a nap. Hey yo, I'll get on. And I was like, okay, sure.
So let's wake you up, Casino Transition King, right here. Let's wake you
I'm
up
gonna be
by.
awake now. My kid's up. She's gonna scream in my ear, so I'm awake.
I mean, "Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear." Right? That song.
Don't you? No,
But
my daughter.
obviously, no, I was saying me.
Oh,
Me. Let me whisper in your ear to
oh.
put you back to sleep. But
See, I didn't
I
get the
do think
reference.
I do think out of this trade, Portland, obviously, they were kind of stuck where they are. This trade doesn't help them, hurt them.
No.
It kind of just gets them picks for the future, but picks in the NBA really at this point have just become trade value. Like there's not
But they're not even value. Nobody cares about them. So
yeah.
what's the
So
point?
you trade them, hopefully you get lucky, and then
No.
that's pretty much it. So
Yeah,
Portland
and also,
obviously
you want to
walks
know why?
away.
Also, I'm still trying to make myself feel better to the audience right now. Where, I feel it may look like I'm really caught off guard talking about the NBA and about this hot, fresh topic news. Oh yeah, that's because I wasn't paying attention to it. I wasn't expecting it. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Hey, we're going to talk about the NBA right now. Ready? Clap. Let's go. Hey,
Yeah.
yo."
Since this news dropped, the odds to win the NBA Finals, and this is through FanDuel, the top 5 teams are Bucks first, then Nuggets, then Celtics, then Suns, then Lakers. So I think the only value you get out of any of those picks is probably the Lakers because they're plus 1,400. The Suns would be next at plus 600. So I
When does
think
Bronny come in the league?
I think 1 year, or he just committed to USC, so you only need to play 1 year. So he can be in the NBA next season, but will he? Who knows?
Oh,
But
100%. 100% he's going to go in just so he can play with his dad so his dad can retire.
yeah, I
And that's
think
why
so
I'm
too.
asking is because then the Lakers are not going to be relevant ever again.
I do think in the West, the interesting thing to come out of this is the Suns got size, and they kind of got like big like bully guys to kind of try to combat the Nuggets, but then it becomes, is size going to be able to help you with scoring? Now you have Devin Booker, you have Kevin Durant, but they also couldn't stop anybody last year, so it's also one of those things of, it will be really interesting to see that first kind of Nugget Suns matchup and then how that progresses over the year if we do get that, to go to the finals or in the NBA conference round. I don't know, but I do think the Bucks got better. I think the Nuggets are still the best team. I don't think this now makes the Bucks the favorites because, like you said, of how Miami wiped the floor with them last year. But I do think that does make them more of a title contender because if you want to, I think the Nuggets are still far and away the best team. And if you want to compete with the Nuggets, you're going to have to score. So now you have Giannis on the inside to deal with Jokic. You have Damian Lillard to hopefully put up the same kind of stat line that Jamal Murray
The
was
same
putting up.
production.
Yeah, same production, same points, and then it just becomes your bench guys, your other guys on the roster. And right now, yeah, I think the Bucs are clearly the best team going into the season in the East. The Nuggets are going to the best team in the West. But then you have the Lakers and Heat that happened last season. So maybe some team emerges. I don't know. But fun thing to talk about, crazy trade. I really thought he was going to the Heat, or I think my next pick was like a random he would just be traded to like a random team where all of us would be like,
The
what?
Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, I really didn't think he'd go to a contender outside
The Hornets.
of Miami.
The Magic.
I would have
Again,
I would have taken money that he was either going to go on the Lakers or Heat. If it was like Lakers, Heat, or the field,
and
I would
again,
have taken Lakers, Heat.
this is don't bet with BJ. We've
I
learned.
mean, that's true. And actually, that can be our transition to football because speaking of don't bet with me, Casino, we were tied going into week 3. We are when it comes to the NFL and our picks, we are no longer tied because you going into week 3, we were at 17-17 apiece.
Damn it.
And
I had my mic muted. I was just yelling at you.
But prepare to yell at me more because you wiped the absolute floor with me. I got 7 picks right this week. You got 12. So take a bow, Casino. You won.
No, because I feel if like I stand up, I'm going to pass out. I'm dehydrated. I have not been drinking enough water.
Oh, damn.
Which is ironic because I need to because of my kidney stones. I'm just a mess.
Just drink more
I like
water.
how you're over here trying to do a sports podcast and I am just trying to wake up still. And like I'm putting my phone, I'm like, oh God. I put my phone up, I'm like, I never look at the back of my phone case and I'm like, yeah, that all used to be black.
Ew.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
It's just white. It's just like my phone's perfect, but I've used this phone case so much that everything is falling apart on it. And yeah, it's ripped all the paint off. But now it looks cool. Now it looks like a stormtrooper that you'd pay money. This $20. $20 for message us and we'll ship it to you. DM us. All right. Anyway, waking up football here.
But you did the games you correctly predicted over me: Colts over Ravens, Packers over Saints, Chargers over Vikings. My stupid Steelers bandwagon, I jumped off. You jumped on. Steelers beat the Raiders, and then Bengals beat the Rams. We both, however, did pick the Bucs, which that looks like a insane choice in retrospect. We did both pick the Cowboys, which I think we're both happy they lost. And then actually, I want to start with this first game. So we recorded on Friday, so we talked about the Niners Giants. So let's start with our first game of the week, Casino. Are we, as the talking heads of this podcast and just members of the football world, are we sleeping on how good the Browns are? Because the Browns won 27-3 in Cleveland against the Tennessee Titans, and their defense might be the best defense in the league by a mile.
So I backtracked on it because I've always liked the Browns. I've been telling you I like the Browns. I told you I like the Browns.
Yes.
And honestly, I probably will take the Browns number 2 right now in that division with how banged up the Ravens are. Yes, I know the Browns lost Chubb. I'm sad about it. Casino's Fantasy Corner is in shambles, like absolute shambles. I'm like, for some reason, like I was like, oh, I'm doing great. Chubb goes out, and then all of a sudden my entire roster was just like, oh yeah, everybody else sucks now too. My entire roster, quick Fantasy Corner update, is all either O's, IR, or questions. My entire bench. Like it's fantastic. Anyway, no, I mean, I guess you were sleeping on the Browns for sure. I said I liked the Browns. I don't like Deshaun Watson still. I don't think he's that great of a player, but I do like what the Browns are doing. And dude, and going on Deshaun Watson, if they had a much better quarterback than Deshaun Watson, you give them a Trevor Lawrence. Just throw Trevor Lawrence trade those two quarterbacks out. I think this Cleveland Browns team would be a contender to make the conference final for their division. I like them that much. And dude, how about Deshaun Watson getting two unsportsmanlike conducts as a fucking or face masks, right?
It was face mask, yeah.
Yeah, two face masks as a quarterback. Like, dude, he is an absolute train wreck. But I do like Cleveland. It sucks. I like Vrabel, but I was hoping that we could trust him, just him. But if I recall our picks at the beginning of the year, or like going through the teams, I wasn't that high. I could be wrong. I could look back. I hear because my kid. I wasn't that high on the Titans anyway, but I really did think they were going to pull it off against the Browns because I thought the Browns would have been out of sorts with Chubb gone. And I'm going on mute for a second. I blame you for this, buddy. I hope you enjoyed your fudge. I really hope you enjoyed your fucking nap.
I did, actually. I did very much enjoy my nap. But I am right there with you in the sense of I think we got a little too excited about the prospect of the coaching of the Titans and kind of got away from what we predicted the Titans to be, which is what the Titans are, which is not a very good team. I believe both of us picked them to finish last in the AFC South, and it kind of looks like they're heading that way. To me, it's shocking that they have two young quarterbacks on the roster because I believe they still have Malik Willis. We know they drafted Will Levis, and they're kind of still sticking with Tannehill, where, I mean, you look at these stats, and again, I think
he's so bad.
Dude, he was 13 for 25 for 104 yards. Now, again, that is against this Browns defense that at this moment, week 3 heading into week 4 is, by my accounts, the best defense in the league. And looking at the Browns schedule, I mean, they're 2-1 right now. They play the Ravens this weekend, which will be, I think, a really good game.
I think I'll probably go. I want to see who gets healthy for the Ravens first, but yeah. I think I might go Browns. That'll be determined.
I think I might as well. But then after this week, again, like Casino was saying, with a beat-up Ravens team, they play the 49ers. So if that Browns defense shuts down the 49ers offense, then all of a sudden, I think we have to start having the discussion about Browns being maybe the number 1 seed in the AFC. Because after that 49ers game, they play outside of division. They literally play the Cardinals, the Broncos.
Whoa. Cardinals just beat the Super Bowl winners already. Like, come on.
But
didn't you know that Dallas already just wrote the book? Like, they're winning the Super Bowl this year. You know that, right? and they did. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll fucking get to that game.
But outside the division, they play Cardinals, Broncos, Rams, Bears, Texans, Jets. I mean, if they go 4-2 in their division, I don't think they lose another division outside of their division, besides maybe a Jaguars team later in the season and the 49ers. So they win one of those 2 games. They win every other game. This is all of a sudden a 13-14 win team. And everybody's going like, where the fuck did this Browns team come from? Because so far they beat the Steelers. They destroyed the Bengals, which everybody thought, myself included, would be like a week 1 game. We look back.
Bengals are in tough shape.
Them? And then
Bengals
all of a sudden, yeah, and we'll get to that game because they look rough. But then you see this Titans team, and I mean, the most impressive thing is they shut down Derrick Henry like we haven't seen in maybe ever. He got 11 carries, 20 yards, so he was averaging less than 2 yards a carry. This is Derrick Henry, right? And it's just like, I don't know, this Browns team. But then
that man can fall forward for 20 yards.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, he was just getting hit so much in the backfield that they just stopped giving the ball to him. And then they gave it to Tannehill, and he threw for 100 yards. Like, that is insane. But then we both hate Deshaun Watson, but in this game, it kind of felt like he reemerged as what it used to be. He was
No.
27 for 33, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like
No, when
that's
your defense gets you in good position, you don't need another pouch. You just ate a pouch.
but you have the return of Amari Cooper as a number 1 wide receiver. He had 7 receptions, 116 yards, 1 touchdown. So
Thank you
what
for
I'm
putting that in the
saying
trash can.
is you can count on this Browns team to probably keep most offenses, most teams in this league under 3 touchdowns. So you just have, if Kareem Hunt literally has any spark left to him, you just need this offense to kind of just be mediocre. And
Yeah,
with this
but
defense,
Kareem,
you're
but
going to win games 21-17.
come here.
Like,
Come tell him. But Kareem Hunt, they've already said that he's only going to be the backup.
yeah. Well, that guy who stepped in, I think it was Ford. I mean, he was
I try to pick him up. Oh.
Dude, everybody in fantasy was like, all of a sudden, this was the second coming of Christian McCaffrey. Every league I'm in with fantasy football was like, the new Browns running back is now the holy grail of, you get him, you win the league, because everybody fucking put in a waiver wire claim for him. But let's move on from that game, Casino, to a game I watched most of, and I'm not even a Ravens or Colts fan. If I was a Ravens fan watching this Ravens Colts game, the last 2 minutes of this game would have made me fucking break a stool. Like, the calls in this fucking Ravens Colts game, especially at the end, there's literally a Colts defender in the face of the Ravens wide receiver, tackling him to the ground. The ball does not come to him. The wide receiver.
Yeah, don't be mad. Just you lost. Don't be mad.
The Ravens
Just
guy
don't
jumps up and is like,
don't be
"What
mad.
the
You lost.
fuck are we? What are we doing?"
You just lost. You just lost.
The
I'm
textbook
kicking your
definition.
I'm kicking your ass by 10 or by 5, whatever it is.
The textbook definition of pass interference, not called, and then
Yeah. Tell Sean Payton all about that. Remember that one with when he was on for coaching the Saints and the dude gets absolutely railed at the end zone. Like,
oh well,
do you remember?
we'll get to Sean Payton. We'll get to Sean Payton,
that
but then
liar.
You knew the Ravens were going to lose this game when, with a minute left, Justin Tucker misses like a 45-yard field goal, and you're just like, oh, it's not happening today.
I have Tucker. Yeah, that was rough.
But yeah, with this Ravens Colts team, Casino, Gardner Minshew pulls it out. But you talked about it with how the Bengals have kind of looked this season. Clearly, Joe Burrow's hurt. We'll talk about it when we get to Monday night. What we've seen from the Browns, and then kind of what we've seen from the Steelers since week 1. Do you think the Ravens at 2-1 are in trouble in this division with how injury prone they have been?
Yeah, I do. I do. I like the Ravens, though. I still like the Ravens. I think they're a phenomenal team. I like Lamar Jackson. He's coming back with a vengeance. He's playing very well himself. I like that. And you know how I've always been like a little iffy with his arm. There was a point there where he put a consecutive like 11 passes in a row or something like that. I saw the stat because I was watching Red Zone. It popped up. I haven't looked up that exact stat in a row, but he had a pretty good throwing day. Like, it wasn't nothing, not too bad. And I like Lamar. However, I would still be worried about this team, and I am. But I don't know. I might choose the Ravens over the Browns this coming weekend. I just want to see where they come with their health. For me, that was like the Chargers last year, and the Chargers are getting hurt again this year. So they got to stay healthy, and then they'll be a really good team. But I am going to be concerned with them with how injury prone they have been, and especially if Lamar goes out, just flush your season down the drain again. Just down the drain. So
No, I agree. And I do like, again, both you and I picked the Ravens to be a wild card team. We both picked the Bengals to win that division. So since we are
Woo.
talking about
The only good thing about the Bengals was those Monday night jerseys. Dope as shit, by the way.
I do like their
Dude,
color combinations.
that all white was dope as shit.
Dude, that helmet with the white and the black like tiger stripes on it or whatever, that might be in contention for best helmet in the league. I really
Dude,
like how those
so
look.
solid. Like they looked really good, but they looked really bad.
But since we're talking about the AFC North, we don't have to stay in order here. Let's just jump right to Monday night. The
Oh yeah.
Bengals win against the Rams 19-16 to go to 1-2. Is everyone, us included, underestimating how hurt Joe Burrow is?
I think
Because
we
that
are.
looked rough.
I think we are. Plus, for an injured quarterback, you don't want him throwing 49 attempts. Like, come on, man. That is
Ugh.
absolutely ridiculous. And Joe Mixon didn't do any help for him. He only was 65 yards for 19 carries. That is insanely bad. I think it's a absolute panic mode for Cincinnati right now. I think it is. I'm worried about them.
Well, you
Um,
also know it's a panic mode when after a game you win, all of a sudden there's a bunch of talking heads and news reports coming out and opinion articles being like the Bengals should sit Joe Burrow for the rest of the season after a win, right? Like
Possibly, yeah.
I saw that
I
headline plastered across the internet after this game, and I think I kind of agree because this Bengals team doesn't look like they're gonna do anything if he's not 100% healthy,
I
and we
mean,
know that
it doesn't.
because he's not 100% healthy,
Right.
right?
Jamar Chase still had a really good game, 12 receptions, 141 yards. He looked really good. Um, but that's when Joe Burrow is able to connect to him. But you've got to connect. Like you almost went 50% for your completions. That is awful. Come on, man.
Yeah, I do think this Bengals defense is pretty good because they were putting Matthew Stafford in fits all night. He threw for 2 interceptions. He just looked like he was having an off game. And I
Well, yeah,
even
he was
really
hung
like
over from Disneyland, man. Now there's too much candy there. Now they need to go to Universal Studios now and get his connection back with the guys.
That's true. I don't think the Rams running attack, they traded away who was that one guy? I can't remember his name. They traded away.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they traded away him to
I can't
the
help you. I
Vikings.
can't help you when I don't know who you're talking about.
The guy that was just on the Rams who got traded to the Vikings. Cam Akers?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, I believe it was Cam Akers. He got traded to the Vikings, and then they have Kenron Williams. He came in, had kind of a Joe Mixon day, but again, against that Bengals defense, which I actually think is pretty good. But at this point, we talked about it before the season. This really felt like the kind of last gasp of this Bengals team because everybody basically that's good on this team outside of Joe Burrow is coming up for a contract extension at the end of this season. So they're
Taylor
going to
Champ.
lose probably a bunch of good players on defense. They're going to lose one of their wide receivers on offense. And then it becomes, should we try to, again, I don't understand why they didn't just sit Burrow for the first 4 games, for the first month of the season and just be like, hopefully we can be 1-3 without him. And then he comes back in and we can go on a run, because him just being perpetually hurt the entire season seems like the dumb worst outcome, across the board. I don't
Mhm.
get what you gain from this.
No, you're just going to injure your superstar for years to come.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing where it's just then it becomes an issue of it's not even this season. Then it's next season where it's oh man, he had surgery in the off season. We don't know when he's going to come back. And then it's just this lingering problem where he's always hurt, he's always injured, which honestly was kind of what happened to Stafford, right?
Mhm.
Stafford was always hurt and injured, and then he had that one good season, and then he was hurt and injured again, and now he's kind of come back and been pretty decent, but they're still a 1-2 team. But
So
Yeah,
just with my love for hockey, my parallel to that and being a Golden Knights fan. So just a quick parallel was the captain Mark Stone. The year before the year when they didn't make the playoffs, so 2 years ago, he was injured the entire year and he kept trying to come in and play. And then finally it was just like, okay, don't. He finally got some good time off, got healed, came back 100% fresh. They finally sat him and he came back and they won the cup the next year. The Bengals should do that, but you're right with the Bengals is they've got a lot of contracts coming up, and that is very problemsome that this could have been their last year and going in Joe Burrow's hurt and they won't heal him in time.
no.
They won't rest him enough because they're like, okay, they might know that this is their last year. And so what they're trying to do is push him and be like, just go out there, just go out there. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And it's not. They're going to hurt this kid. They're going to hurt this kid.
Yeah. Well, then it also becomes a thing where we saw how good the Browns defense is. You really want, and we saw how much they whooped his ass in the first game. You really want him just week after week with this average to below average offensive line just getting destroyed. I mean, even in this game, it looked like he re-injured his injury and he was limping off the field a couple times. Like, it's just like every week he's going to get hit. He can't move around because of the injuries in his legs. So then it just becomes a thing of you're doing more harm than good. And it becomes a point where it's like, are we just going to keep playing him until he just officially gets knocked out of a game and is just like, oh, he can't come back in. And now it's, oh, we're sitting in for the season. And then everybody throws your hands up and you're just like, why did it take you so long? Like, why do you have to get injured again to be on the bench? But let's move from that game, Casino, on to your Super Bowl pick, Detroit Lions, beating the, at the time, undefeated, now 2-1 Atlanta Falcons, 20-6. Take a victory lap, Casino, because your Super Bowl pick had a pretty good game.
Yeah, 2-1, man. Let's go, Lions. Rawr. I don't know.
When we talk about the Falcons, can we finally and officially dub Kyle Pitts a bust? Kyle Pitts is a bust.
Yeah, definitely.
Ugh. He gets like, do you remember like the past like 3 years, he's been like the second tight end or third tight end taken in every draft I've ever had. And he never puts up production at all. Like, doesn't matter what
But you
the
want to know
scheme
the
or
sad thing is he was still their number one receiver.
I know. And even as their number one receiver, he put up 5 receptions for 41 yards. Like, but I feel like that's every week. It doesn't matter if the Falcons win by 20 or lose by 20. It's always like Kyle Pitts had 2 receptions for 13 yards. And and I watch Falcons game. I watch pretty much this whole game. He just completely disappears on the field. Like, you never are ever like, oh, there's Kyle Pitts open, or, like everybody was giving the Eagles shit because it was like Dallas Goedert in the first 2 games. He was just always open and they just weren't getting the ball to him. With the Falcons, it's like you can't even tell where Kyle Pitts is on the field because he's just never like a threat or open. And it seems like teams don't even give a shit. And why would they? But this is more a fantasy rant than a Kyle Pitts rant. But when it comes to the Lions, they play Thursday night against the Packers. And if we remember from last year, they're the ones that knocked the Packers out of playoff contention. We're going to record.
You're tired.
We're going to record on Friday. So let's get the first pick of the weekend, Casino. Who you picking to win this week, the Packers or the Lions on Thursday night?
I'm going with my Super Bowl pick.
Oh, going with the Lions.
I am.
I also think the Lions will win just because it's on a short
Why did you do that then? Ooh. Like it was like something that was so blasphemy and that you were going to pick the Packers. Come on.
I know. You know what? You backed me into a corner and I wrote down Packers, so I'm just going to stick with it. Fuck
yeah,
it.
but the Packers barely beat the Saints at home against a Derek Carr who's injured and, really bad team. I mean, Kamara's coming back, right? So
Let's jump to that one because
Look at me. Transitions for days. I didn't even mean to do that. I'm so good. I'm so good at this.
the Green
It
Bay
comes natural to me.
Packers. The Green Bay Packers win 18-17 against the New Orleans Saints, coming back down from, I believe they were down 17, right? Like, and then the Packers came all the way back. I believe at one point this was a 17-0 game.
It was 17-0 at halftime, and then they scored all 18 of their points in the fourth quarter. The Packers did.
Can we finally say that it was a good move moving off Rodgers and Jordan Love is legit?
Yeah, I think, yes, he threw an INT, but and he only went 50% for his passes, but you've even talked about that. You like this Saints defense, and so I was pretty impressed with how Jordan Love came back. To be down at home, being a first year starting quarterback, that would be tough to come back from. Like, you're demoralized. But he was like, nah, fourth quarter, I got this. I'm gonna do what all my predecessors have done and come back in the fourth quarter. And he did.
Yeah. No, and I think it was either, I believe it was on the
he didn't have a pretty game. No. But when it counted to come back in the fourth quarter, he got it done.
Well, and I think it was at the goal line. It was either the 2-point conversion or the one touchdown he threw. Like, he scrambled in the pocket and then stepped up and kind of did like a side throw to the guy on the left. And even the announcers were like, I didn't know he had that in him. I didn't know he was that athletic. And it was kind of just like, I didn't either. And that looked like really clean. And if Mahomes did that same play, ESPN would be coming their pants over it for 48 hours to 72 hours after it. But because it was Jordan Love, everybody was kind of just like,
we'll get to coming in their pants once we get to the Dallas game, because you legitimately texted me a gif of that, of not you actually doing that, but close enough.
No, but I did send you a video on Snapchat of me actually doing that while watching but you can open that later.
I have not. I haven't opened it. I was going to wait till I got some free time. I haven't had free time yet.
And then the news on the Saints side, like you said, Derek Carr.
Sorry.
Derek Carr gets knocked out of this game, and he was actually having a pretty damn good game. But then in steps Jameis Winston, who kind of, I mean, the stats are almost identical to what Derek Carr was doing in this game. How, and we can move on to talking about the Jets game, how the fuck are the Jets not trading or calling the Saints to see what they can get or to see what they need to do to get Jameis Winston?
I don't know, because for some reason they still said that, like, if I'm not wrong, I came across an article where they said that, oh, no, Wilson is still our guy. And I'm just like, what? My kid is even freaking out about it,
man. So let's move on to your team winning 15-10 against the New York Jets. Now getting their first win of the year. The Patriots now 1-2, Jets 1-2 as well. Zach Wilson in this game, 18 for 36, 157 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Looked way, way worse than the stat line would even have you say. But then you also have Dalvin Cook, you have Breece Hall. Dalvin Cook got 8 carries, Breece Hall 12. Dalvin Cook averaged a little over 2 yards. Breece Hall averaged like 1.5 yards per touch. So this Jets defense this Patriots defense still legit. I think they're a good defense. I saw them firsthand when they played the Patriots. I trust.
Hold on, everybody. My daughter's got a very important announcement. Tell them what you want.
I want.
What do you want?
You want a fruit bar?
You want a fruit bar?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go get my daughter a fruit bar.
There you go. But on the Patriots side, Mac Jones, 15 for 29, 201 yards, 1 touchdown. Again, against a New York Jets defense that I still think is legit. Maybe not as legit as we thought they would be going into the season, but still legit. Ezekiel Elliott, kind of his coming out party, 16 carries, 80 yards.
Wanted everybody to know that you got it. Here it is.
There you go. But Casino, your team, the Patriots,
my
beat
team.
beat the Jets. I think on this podcast we both had no doubt that this would happen. But what did you see in this game? Because I know you watched all of it. What did you see from this Jets offense that makes them think that Zach Wilson is still the answer?
Because they have nothing else. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, out barring trades, but like they stacked up that offense, and Zach Wilson is just so bad, man. I really don't understand why they're not going to move off of him. I really don't. I just don't understand it. I mean, Breece Hall didn't do well. Dalvin Cook didn't do well. Their rushing game was absolutely horrendous. Like, their total team stats for rushing was 38 yards. Absolutely horrendous. I mean, yeah. I mean, and you even texted me. You're like, oh, what happened to your Patriots run game? That I don't know. It's still bad. It's still really bad. Or was that just, the somewhat of the Jets defense being good? I mean, the Patriots are playing a lot of good defenses. So I don't know about that. But I do know for the Jets, they're in a lot of trouble, and their saving grace was going to be Rodgers with his pass game, but they've got nothing now, dude. I'd be surprised if the Jets win another game because Garrett Wilson, dude.
Shit.
Huh?
No, I said bold take.
Yeah,
bold
dude,
take.
I mean, it would not surprise me if the Jets like lose out or like win maybe two games. Garrett Wilson, I don't think he's a bad player, but being your number one receiver, he needs to show up, but you don't have a quarterback that can throw worth a damn. So
yeah, I also think it's crazy.
I also feel like Zach Wilson was out there seeing fucking ghosts, man.
Yeah,
he was scared. He
yeah.
was scared to go against Belichick. Not even the Patriots. Like I told you, we're out of a lot of players. He was scared against Belichick and writing up schemes to go after him.
As well he should be, because he never plays well against Bill Belichick. And when we were making the picks, I said I would bet all the money I had on the world that this version of the Jets, led by Zach Wilson, is not beating a Patriots team led with a defense led by Bill Belichick. And that's exactly what happened.
The Jets have not beat the Patriots since 2015.
Jesus. We're picking up the pace a little, but we also don't these three games.
Barring that, are we going to the Bills game here in a second, right? Yeah, we will. I'll explain.
Well, the three games I just wanted your overall thought about, which is Houston beating the Jaguars 37-17, the Buffalo Bills beating the Commanders 37-3, and then the Seahawks beating the Panthers 37-27, where the Panthers were out without Bryce Young and with Andy Dalton, who actually looked pretty good. Thoughts on any of those three games with any takeaways?
I still don't think the Commanders are a bad team. I just think the Bills are legit, and they had a fault in a fault in that
week one game.
Week one, yeah. That week 1, week 2, and whatnot. But I think they're definitely going to come out swinging from here on out. I do think that they're a legit team now. Like I thought they were going to be, but they are living up to what I thought they should be, because I don't think the Commanders are bad. Jags, I'm worried. I think our pick for Trevor Lawrence being the MVP is
dead.
It's already in shambles. And what was the other game?
The Panthers Seahawks.
Seahawks, I thought it was going to be. I had the Seahawks scoring a lot. I didn't expect the Panthers to do fairly okay, honestly. But I'm happy with my pick with the Seahawks putting up some points. So,
I mean, shout out to Andy Dalton in that game. 34 completions, 58 attempts, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Like,
pretty impressed.
I mean, he looked 1,000 times better than Bryce Young has. I know Bryce Young's got
some experience, and Andy Dalton's played in the league for a long time.
Yeah, but I don't think this Panthers offense is good. And then all of a sudden, Thielen and DJ Chalk actually looked like pretty good wide receivers.
I tried to pick up Thielen because I was like, if Andy Dalton, that is a train. I thought if Andy Dalton, okay, I'll pick you up. I'll pick you up for the train. Yep. So those are my thoughts on that. I'm going to pick her up so she can see the train. Again, I blame you for not doing this while my kid was asleep.
I know. I was asleep. But no, I
entertain
think I think for the takeaway from these games are that Panthers, again, I don't like their defense, or I think their defense has been exposed because I was liking their defense going into the season, and they started playing games, and I kind of they started playing the preseason games, and I kind of sold all my Panther stock because the preseason can't tell you everything, but when their starters were in for Carolina, it just didn't look like how other teams looked, which meant it looked really, really bad, and it was like noticeably bad, and now they're 0-3, so who knows? But I do think the Seahawks look good. They're 2-1. Obviously, they're in a tough division, especially with the Rams already beating them, and then the Rams looking pretty decent so far. But the game that stuck out to me, obviously, we talked, or Casino touched on it a little, the Jaguars. I don't know what's up with the Jaguars. I think with how they've played 3 weeks into the season, I think it's concerning. They're 1-2, and I mean, their offense just looks abysmal.
Flat.
It looks just like there's nothing there. Like Trevor Lawrence, who both Casino and I agreed was going to be MVP, or at least an MVP candidate,
bare minimum,
has looked, I mean, he just looks like bad. I don't know what happened to their offense. I don't believe they lost their offensive coordinator. They got a big time weapon in Calvin Ridley that everybody was like, us included, oh, that's going to open up this passing game, and they're going to look closer to what the Dolphins were than what they're looking now. But then to get blown out by 3 touchdowns against this Texans team that I think CJ Stroud, he can play. He's good. That game, he looked good. He's looked good this entire season, but I don't think Houston is a threat at all. And then the Jaguars sitting there at 1-2. I think my picks going into this season that I'm most concerned about all appear to be in the AFC, which is, I still have concerns about the Steelers, even though they won. But then Bengals and Jags, we had as 2 of the top 4 teams in the AFC. They just look bad. Both of them just look like they are bad. And I don't know why they're bad is my main thing. Like, yes, Joe Burrow's hurt. With the Jaguars, it's like, why are the Jaguars all of a sudden bad? I don't they didn't change anything. I'm so confused as to why they look so inept. And then the Buffalo Bills and the Commanders, I think the major takeaway from that game is Josh Allen didn't even really have a good game, and that defense took over the game, and their running game took over that game.
That defense definitely did take over that game, which I should have left my defense in. I should have left the Bills in. But you know what? I'm in a 12
of Eric the enemy.
Dude, here's the thing. I'm in a 12-man league with, just the normal rundown, got the flex, blah, blah, blah. They do have one extra spot for an OP, but there's no way a team should go over 200 points in a 12-man league. I got 200 pointed.
Damn.
Dude, even if I had this team, I still would have lost by like 60. Dude, it was bad. It was bad. But a lot has to do with that Miami game.
So good segue, the Segue King. The Segue King and Queen are on this podcast today. But Miami now 3-0 against the now 0-3 Denver Broncos, and they put up the most points.
Are we talking NFL still, or are we now doing college? Because this was a college score.
This was a college score. 70 burger.
Sorry, that was dumb.
70 burger against the Broncos, 70-20.
Damn it. I had a bit for this. I know Joke was going to have a bit for this, that I had to go get my wife McDonald's before this show started. She wasn't feeling that great, and she wanted that. So she wanted to make herself feel not more great by eating McDonald's.
Yeah.
But I was going to get a burger and then with ketchup, write 70 on it, and then do a 70 burger and eat it. Damn it. I mean,
you know what's better than the bit? Explaining the bit that didn't happen.
I know. I know. That's it. This is why I'm a stand-up comic, and I've done very well. You can find me located here at my house, and that's it. Or on the show.
So this game, 70-20, I told you, I don't remember if it was on the podcast or off the podcast. I literally drafted Tua like the last like 3 rounds, and I was like of my fantasy money draft, and I was like, Tua's gonna either win me this league or lose it. And so far, he's fucking putting up 30, 40 points a game, and I have only lost one by me being dumb and leaving all the good players on the bench. But in this game, Tua 23 for 26, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns.
That's
But
damn
really,
near flawless.
it was the way he gets rid of the ball, like the quickness he gets rid of it and the accuracy he gets rid of it. I mean, whatever we thought Trevor Lawrence would be this season, it is now Tua. Tua, I think, is the runaway MVP if this continues. And by all accounts, I don't see how it wouldn't continue, because those were Tua's stats, and he wasn't even the best player on his team, because you look at rushing, the rookie Devin Achane had 18 carries, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert had 13 carries, 82 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then Tyreek Hill, 9 receptions, 157 yards, and 1 touchdown. Their entire offense is just like, and again, putting up 70 against any team is impressive. Putting up 70 points against Sean Payton, who all offseason, all he did was talk shit about the former Broncos head coach and how shit the team was run and coached. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, Casino. Maybe you can remember. How many games did this same Broncos team lose last year by 70 points? Because I think it was 0,
yeah, I think
right?
It was 0.
So this is straight up karma on what a dickhead Sean Payton, first off, has always been. But
I'm so happy this happened to him.
Dude, especially how hard he doubled down on being a dickhead this offseason. Like, and it would just be like for no fucking reason. And then a bunch of players would come out and be like, we actually like Nathaniel Hackett. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then it's just kind of like, yeah, Nathaniel Hackett was just like, I don't know what I did to him. Like, I'm just coaching in this fucking league.
Remember, we talked about it. He was trying to save face with Russell.
Yeah. Well, and then, but the real talking point to take away from this Broncos team is just, what the fuck happened to their defense? Where did their defense go? Because their offense looks as bad as it did last year, but they were a top 5 defense last year, and now they're giving up literally 70 points.
They went with Hackett.
But that was one of the craziest games I've ever seen.
Well, I'm really happy for Tua. Dude, if he can stay healthy, it could honestly be a Lions-Dolphins Super Bowl.
Let's quickly touch on 3 games before we'll get into the game we've been dying to talk about. So my Eagles win 25-11 against Tampa Bay on Monday night. On Sunday night, the Steelers beat the Raiders 23-18. And then the Kansas City Chiefs destroy the Bears 41-10. And then finally, the Chargers get their first win of the season against the Vikings, who are still winless. Out of those 4 games, Casino, any takeaways? And no, I don't want to talk about Taylor Swift because I'm already fucking sick of it. I'm already like, it was like Red Zone was like, hey, we also want to show you guys every shot of her in the press box. And it's just like, why as us, the football audience, why are we supposed to give a fuck that Taylor Swift is there? I don't give a fuck about Taylor Swift on or off the court. Like, who gives a shit? They're dating. Like, cool. Like, I don't get what the story is. The story is famous person dates famous person. That's every famous person. Who gives a fuck? Go on, Casino.
And to follow up that, the next podcast will be just a whole show about how much BJ hates Taylor Swift.
If I had the time or the drive to do this, I was going to have it just be us 2, and then every 5 minutes cut to a video of Taylor Swift, like in the press box. Every 5 minutes.
What's wrong, honey? Yeah, Taylor Swift. I know you're upset. You're over her. I know. No, I don't really have anything to say.
On those games?
Yeah.
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 I don't know why we're all of a sudden trying to act like Kansas City's back. They beat the Bears, who are unequivocally
I
the
got
worst
all
team in
those.
the league.
I called all those games, so I have. I'm four on those games. I don't need to talk about them. I don't need to
No,
talk
you
about 'em.
didn't. You picked the Bucs.
Oh shit, we talked about. You said the Bucs too.
I
Oh,
did.
did I pick the Bucs over the Eagles?
Both of us picked the Bucs.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't pick the Eagles.
No, you did not, which is shocking because I really thought you were going to pick the Eagles, but we both picked the Bucs.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
Or maybe
you know what? I can mark that up to baby fog.
maybe you did pick the Eagles. I'm going to listen back to that podcast. If you did,
I'm going to listen
I
to
will
it on the
give
way
you
to work.
point. There you go. But the crazy thing about the Eagles is I don't think they've played a good game and they're still 3-0. Like Hurts looked much better and their offense looked much better than they have the first 2 weeks, kind of reminiscent of last year. And it still didn't look great. But again, I think that Bucs defense is legit. I think their offense was just overwhelmed by how great the Eagles, especially D-line, is. Getting a safety and just giving Baker Mayfield literally 0 seconds to throw. But yeah, I thought the most impressive thing was that Eagles defense, Eagles offense coming along. But 3-0, I'll take it. Steelers kind of back on the bandwagon with them, but I have 1 foot on, 1 foot off. That game was ugly. And then Chargers, Vikings. Herbert looked good. I still don't like either of these teams. I don't think they're going to do anything, but good win for the Chargers. Now, Casino, we're up against the clock here. Let's talk about the best game of the week. The now 2-1 Dallas Cowboys lose to the now 1-2 Arizona Cardinals, 28-16. I know both of you and I watched this game because we were talking about it.
Oh, I watched all of it
while it was happening.
I watched all of it.
How did the 1985 Bears defense, Super Bowl favorite, undefeated Dallas Cowboys, how did they lose to a winless at the time Arizona Cardinals team that we on this podcast have said is going to be the worst team in the league? How did this happen, Casino?
I honestly, I don't know, and I'm very happy. I'm just happy.
I am too. I was watching this game, and there was a point.
We did do it, Michaela. We did do it. The Cardinals did do it.
There is a point in this game, I believe it was the third or fourth quarter, where it got within like 1 score. And then
you
I
did
was
text me. You were like, "The Cowboys are going to win this game." I'm so frustrated.
I know.
I didn't
really
respond.
thought
I didn't respond to that. I don't think I responded to that because I was just like, I was like, I don't know, man. I think the Cardinals could do this.
Who knew that the way to beat the unbeatable Micah Parsons was to just run the ball directly at him? Oh, wait, you know who figured that out? The Eagles last year when they completely shut down Micah Parsons in both games he played them against. So turns out to destroy the best defensive player in the league, all you have to do is garner your plays directly at him, and then he kind of disappears in games. But again, it's not Micah Parsons' fault. It's the media's fault for hyping him up as the second coming of fucking Lawrence Taylor. And it's just like, yeah.
Oh, Lawrence Taylor. I thought you were going somewhere else.
It's like, yeah. I'm sure he looks great when he's playing the worst fucking teams in the league. But then again, the Cardinals, we've said the Cardinals all season were supposed to be one of the worst teams, but they've been feisty, right? And then all of a sudden in this game, Joshua Dobbs actually played pretty damn good, and he looked really good running and passing the ball. And then when it came to the Cowboys, I don't know if you saw Dak Prescott's one red zone interception where he throws it directly in the middle of 3 Cardinals Cardinal players and his guys in the middle behind all three. And shockingly, it gets picked off. And then all the announcers and everybody is like, why would you throw that pass? And it's just like, who knows? Why would he throw that pass? Because this Cardinals team's weakness has always been when they have to rely on Dak Prescott to win the game.
Right.
That.
I told you that Dak, Dak has to play good for this team to be good, and I don't trust Dak. I don't.
No,
I don't.
I don't either.
And I loved when the announcer said that when he threw that pick, and it was like, what was he thinking? Trying to squeeze that in there. And I was just like, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's how that's always been Dak Prescott. He'll destroy the bad teams, and then against teams they're supposed to beat, this is what happens, right? This is why nobody can trust Dallas. This is why every year they're so hyped up. And then like this season, it even happened earlier. Week 3. Usually it's not till like week 9 or 10 where it's just like, oh my God, what happened? But as an Eagles fan, as a Cowboys hater, this warmed my little heart. And then we go to Monday night and it's like, oh, Buccaneers. Even I was feeling the hype for the Buccaneers. It's just like undefeated. Their defense is really good. And then the Eagles played the game they played last year all the time, which I fucking loved. And I've talked about multiple times, where the other team scores. So then the Eagles come out and they run 12 plays for 90 yards and take up 9 minutes of play time and then just get a touchdown. And you can see the other team just being like, we can't stop them. We can't get our offense on the field. And everybody on the other team is just deflated, right? And that's what the Eagles did to win that game at the end. They burned off the last 9 minutes in the fourth quarter to win that game. I'm back on the Eagles train, Casino. I'm slamming my fist on the table. How about them Cowboys? Fly, Eagles, fly. All right. Casino, on Friday, we'll talk about college football. We ran out of time, obviously, because I took a nap, and Casino's daughter woke up from a nap. Which is basically
what
those two
things. What did you say? I can't hear you. I can't hear. What did you say?
This has been the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino. We'll be back on Friday to talk about college football. Obviously, we'll talk about the Oregon-Colorado game, and then we'll make the rest of our picks for Week 4. We'll talk about the Lions-Packers game on Thursday. Yeah. Adios.